Okay. I don't think I have recorded a podcast I think this is the 4th episode, 4 weeks that I've been filming them and had my phone fully charged. Every single time I go to sit down and record, I have to stop and plug it in and wait an extra 30 minutes. And I think that is a huge contributing factor towards my motivation for this. But welcome back to the 4th, I think, episode of the podcast. I really enjoyed the way that last week felt. I tried to stick on topic as much as I could, and I think I did well. I feel like I talked a lot about the same stuff, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay on topic and, actually have a topic to get into. So I'm going to try to keep that same mindset, that same vibe. For this episode, I'm going to kind of do a continuation of what we were talking about last week. We talked a lot about I don't know, your energy, what you're putting out into the world, what you're attracting back, and kind of how it feels to figure out who you are and what kind of life you want. I think a very important thing for me is thinking about what serves me in what I want for my life. And granted, kind of what I was talking about last week, I think that mindset has gotten kind of carried away in you're just cutting people out of your life because they're no longer serving a purpose for you, is kind of fucked up. But having that mindset of something isn't making me feel good anymore, so I don't really need it. I do think that's important to be able to recognize with yourself. I am wearing the same shorts. I don't know if you can see them, so I may have just called myself out. But I am wearing the same shorts that I wore last week. But I got a Cristiano Ronaldo t-shirt, so I'm really excited, personally. But in a continuation of last week, I'm going to talk about, healing. I know I definitely touched a lot on that topic with what I was talking about with my friend and, taking past events and trying to actually fully process them and no longer feel like someone hurt me, so I still felt anger towards it, even though it was 3 years ago and I should be able to move on from that and actually be able to process it without feeling the emotions that I felt at the time. And I kind of just wanted an episode dedicated to talking about that, because I think a lot of us have a lot more pent up emotions. Honestly, I know this is still so talked about and it's so tiring to hear about, but I do think I think the pandemic had a really, really big impact on a lot of people, especially my age, I think. Being in that pivotal point, being a teenager and missing out on so many experiences. I don't really feel like I missed out on that much, but I do think having that, being 16, 17 years old and being stuck in the house for however long it was, I think, for certain people, definitely fucked them up. And I think that we're still kind of trying to piece that part of ourselves together. I was talking with my roommates and my friend Adam the other day, kind of about that, and how, I can't even remember what exactly it was you were talking about. But just that, being in social settings and similar events definitely feels different than it used to. For me, I think that I used to be able to enjoy settings like that a lot more, and I think it's just shifted. And I think that with that, a lot of our emotions and a lot of the way we respond to things socially has shifted dramatically, because I think I need to stop saying I need to stop saying and I need to stop saying I think. Because I was watching TV or whatever, and I remembered that media training is a thing, and for someone who is dedicating hours of their life to putting videos of themselves on the internet, I definitely need to be more well-spoken. Because I think I am well-spoken, like I can construct a sentence, but when I'm editing these videos and I'm saying like every 5 seconds, it's nauseating. It's the gay agenda. They're building their way into my brains. I am a child. Like, you are seeing evidence of the gay agenda being forced onto a child. But I think that, like, having TikTok in that era, it became such an echo chamber, and I think because we were in, like, I think a lot of us were depressed, it became, like, a negative echo chamber, and just amplified a lot of our negative thoughts, negative behaviors. Like, I don't think I knew the term gaslighting before the pandemic, and now everyone knows what that is. And I think that, like, fuck, oh my god, stop saying I think. You gotta stop saying I think. But I think that, like, especially looking at relationships specifically, the way that we go about interacting with people is so evil. Like, we all kind of expect the same treatment, which is beyond anyone's realistic standards. And because obviously we all have a very individualistic mindset, in that, like, that's what it was. It was the whole main character shtick that became really popular and really just, like, what people were saying about themselves. That ruined society. That was the end of the world. That was the end of civilizations as we know it. Because everyone started living their lives as if they were the main character. But I think somewhere along the lines it got confused, in that being a main character should be, like, you should absolutely 100% feel like the main character. Like, you should feel like you are the best person in your life. But in your life is overlooked. People want to feel like the main character, but they want to be the main character in everyone's lives. And that's not how it works. And I think that mindset has become so prevalent that, like, we can't have functioning relationships of any kind, because anything negative done towards someone is taken as an attack, because you're the main character and how dare they talk to you like that. And I think, like, if I say I think one more time, I'm just going to end the podcast. It made it so much more difficult to have, like, genuine human connection, because everyone wants to be treated how they feel they deserve to be treated. But because of the main character mindset, because we all want to be, like, treated like royalty, essentially, it just, like, isn't practical. Ooh, that was a good one. Nice. But that has leaked everywhere. And I'm in a point where I feel like I should start putting those pieces back together. Because I feel like I got off track. You know, like, I think I said in the last podcast, I healed in the wrong direction. I had so much pent-up anger towards the way that people were treating me that it made me become resentful of everyone else, regardless of if they were the ones treating me like that. And I don't feel like it's a broad statement to say that I think a lot of people are also doing that, and a lot of people are also not realizing that yet. Like, they're not realizing that their, like, girl boss, their main character, like, the confident energy that they're putting out isn't being read as confident by other people. It's coming off like you're a bitch. Like, when you are going throughout your life expecting that everyone should, like, treat you the way that you treat them, whether or not you're treating them nicely is out of the question. It is going to, if everyone has the same mindset that they should be treated like royalty and not treat everyone else like royalty, then everyone's just going to hate each other. And I want to get past that point, because I definitely had that mindset for a very long time. The, like, winter after my freshman year at university, I lost a lot of weight pretty quickly. We're not gonna delve into that, but I got a huge confidence boost out of nowhere, because prior to that, I had been, like, I feel like my appearance was pretty stagnant. Like, I had always looked how I looked, and I didn't really see much, like, the like glow up trends or whatever. For me, it always just looked like I grew up, like I aged, but I didn't really like have that kind of maturing, like, whoa, that's the same person, until my freshman year of college. I lost a lot of my baby fat, especially in my face, and that's saying something, because I do still have like a pretty, I don't know, a pretty puffy face, a pretty pudgy, I have cheeks, and I think that mixed with, that was also the start of, like, when I became, like, having sex. When I began having sex, I was fucking. And it went straight to my head. And I think I kind of gained the personality of someone that had that confidence, but I didn't, because I just felt like, oh, I'm hot now, I'm skinny now, I'm a fashion major, I'm what everyone else wants to be. Like, obviously I wasn't thinking about that. You know, I think I have a much more negative opinion of myself than others do, because, I mean, I know what's going on in my head, and I'm a mean person in my head, but I think I'm a nice person because I keep it in my head, which is also something that I want to work on. I also blame emergency intercom. Not entirely, because I still act like that, but, like, I don't know. I feel like the way I've been talking the last few episodes makes it sound like I used to be a terrible person, and while I definitely, like, haven't always been the nicest, like, I don't know, I'm not a bad person, but this is mostly just about, like, myself and, like, who I want to be. Like, I try, whatever, but I want to grow past that. I lost my train of thought. So today we're talking about healing. We're talking about how that process goes. And one of the first points that I want to bring up is something that I've talked a lot about with my friends, and my mom also. And it's like it's what everyone talks about, like, regressing in your growth is, like, part of the process. People say it a lot with, like, substance abuse and, like, becoming sober or whatever. Relapsing is part of the process. But I do think it's an important thing to keep in mind when you're trying to pick yourself up. Over the past, like, year or so, I have felt really, really off. And I think I've definitely talked about it in the vlogs and the podcast and the blog, posted about it. Like, everyone knows that I kind of feel like shit. But that's, like, okay. Like, I'm still going through the process, which I think is all you really can do. But I think because of that, it definitely, like, it was a pretty low point. And I feel like I've kind of begun working my way out of it. But especially winter 2022, like, it was a rough spot. And a lot of, I think, the contributing factor towards what was making it so hard for me to get out of that was because, okay, let's start the mental health talk. So, I don't know what really is going on in my head, but there's definitely, like, some shit, and I have pretty frequent, like, mood swings, and I definitely keep that in mind a lot when I'm, like, when you get to a spot where you're feeling really low, at least for me, all I can really think about is what it's felt like to be low in the past and how I got out of that. And, so over that last year or so, a lot of what was on my mind was I feel like shit and I need to do everything I possibly can to not feel like shit anymore. And thinking about like how long have the lows lasted in the past? Like what have I done in the past that's made me feel better? And nothing was really working. And I got to a point where I kind of accepted that I'm not a happy that sounds so fucked up. I'm not someone that like is overly excitable, and I kind of just have to accept that like my medium isn't like hyper, and I want to be hyper because I know I can have those moments, but I think that accepting that you don't always feel good is one of the first steps, and obviously, and I think that keeping in mind that no matter how hard you're working to get yourself out of a spot, like it really is just luck of the draw for a lot of people. And the mental health discussion that I think has been going on for a very long time, has definitely alienated a lot of people, myself included. And I've picked that fucking soda can up like 4 times and not even drank from it. It's hard when you're the only person talking. You can't do shit because what are the viewers going to do when I'm taking a sip of my soda? What is their reaction going to be? They have nothing to entertain them. They need my voice. I think a great example for this is the mental health discussion that we see on like social media, the infographics, whatever. How do I frame this? It's the Taylor Swift of white feminism for like mental health. Like when people say that Taylor Swift is the epitome of white, like cis straight feminism, very one-minded, that's how I feel about the mental health discourse. I mean, obviously there's 2 sides. There's one side with what was it called? The Bunnyverse? That one person on TikTok, hi, I'm Bunny. But the other side is like, if you're sad, drink water. Read a book. Like that doesn't do anything. But because it's become so talked about, it almost feels, for me, it got to a point where those infographics, those like random shit that people would say that like have probably never had a suicidal thought in their entire life, it became so overexposed that I kind of started believing it. Like, well, if everyone else is saying that it's true, then yeah, it should be true. And granted, like, I should give myself the benefit of the doubt. I'm 20 years old. Like, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I have a pretty good understanding of like the way my brain works. So then the longer that I would go where I was like drinking water, reading a book, stopping smoking, like doing things that like I know are supposed to help, it just like wouldn't really do anything. And I would not feel better. And then that would make me feel worse. Because, like I said, I get pretty frequent mood swings. But those mood swings are frequent. So when I'm feeling one way for a prolonged period of time, it's like unbalancing. Like, I don't really know how to process that because I'm so accustomed to just kind of feeling everything at the same time, at multiple times, like whenever. So then when it's like going on 3 months and I just haven't really been able to get out of bed when I want to on time, and I'm skipping classes and I just don't have the energy to go to work, and I like it becomes very unsettling. So it made it that much harder for me to get to a spot where I could like grow. Because what I wrote down is that regressing... What did I say? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's okay to regress, to regrow. And it's fucking annoying, I know, but it's true. Like, you just kind of have to, like, wait it out. I think especially for people like me that just don't really have, like, the resources. Like, if I'm feeling low, I kind of just have to, like, raw dog it. And sometimes, for some people, the best thing that they can do is just, like, sit it out. Because the more that you stress yourself out with, like, I'm unhappy, I need to fix it, why am I still unhappy, I've been doing this and nothing's working, and it just makes it worse. Like, every single time that you start doubting why what you're doing isn't making you feel better, it's just digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Because now not only are you upset that you're upset that you're still upset. And then you're upset that you're upset that you're upset, and it, you know? So I think it's, like, incredibly important to keep in mind that, like, life sucks. And regardless of how positive your mindset is and how much you're working on, like, digging yourself out of that pit, there are going to be things that are going to set you back and make you want to stop and make you want to, you know, feel like shit. Like, sometimes it's okay to just sit and feel like shit. Dr. Seuss who? What? That's crazy. Everything I just said was me saying what healing feels like for me. And obviously that's not going to be how everyone feels. Everyone's process is different. And I've talked a lot, like, with my friends about grief being very similar, you know? I was going to just talk about grief, but I don't really, honestly, have that much experience, like, actually grieving. So it didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to give my 2 cents on. But I do think that, like, they're very similar mindsets that you have. Healing, I think, is something that I don't even know. Will kind of just fuck up your life. Let me explain, because this is a tangent I can definitely go on. So, like I was saying, healing or, like, growing or whatever, like, you're gonna hit speed bumps because life sucks. And accepting that is, like, one of the best things a lot of people can do for themselves. Once you accept that life sucks, you will stop expect nothing and be pleasantly surprised. Such a pessimistic way of looking at things. Like, I am not a healthy person for thinking about it that way. Also, don't think that me talking about this stuff means that, like, I have any of my thoughts together. But what I wanted to touch on, and again, I'm going to use, like, my experiences as the lens, but what I wanted to touch on was, so I've talked about it previously about how, like, I'm just not really interested in romantic anything anymore. And that, for a very long time, was a contributing factor towards what was setting me back from growing. Because just like I frequently have mood swings and it's unsettling when I feel one thing for an extended period of time, I am also someone who has said about themselves, like, I'm a die-hard romantic. I definitely, like, when I'm dating, I'm thinking about marriage. And I don't know if that's normal. I don't think that's normal. I think it's weird as fuck, actually. But it's uncommon for me to just kind of lose interest at all, especially unprompted. Like, previous times where I've just stopped talking to anyone was, like, after a breakup. After a bad breakup. After a traumatic incident. After whatever. So for me to just kind of reach a point in dating where I'm like, this is, like, such a fucking waste of time, that is a breakthrough I wasn't even aware that I was going to have. And the preceding months after that breaking point was a really, really important healing process, steps in the healing process for me. Spending time alone, I think, is like one of the best things that someone can do for themselves. And I think that's why certain people aren't able to really like process things, because just like I was saying how everyone heals differently, everyone is also a different person. And I myself am very like, I'm pretty introverted. I won't say, I guess I am an introvert, like on the personality test, but I don't feel like I'm a very introverted person. Like, I like going out. I don't really like going to parties, but I'm someone who definitely finds a lot of comfort in my solidarity and being alone and being able to just kind of like feel how I feel by myself without any kind of outer interference. And just as that's the case for me, there's a lot of people who desperately need to be around someone like 24/7. And I think when you're in a spot that you need to heal from, that's like not always the best thing. Like, right after someone goes through something, I think it's common that they want to spend time, they don't want to be alone, you don't want them to be alone, whatever. But I also think that being able to, like, I'm going to use a breakup, for example. You break up with someone and you want, like, your friend's advice, their opinion, whatever. And that can help you. But I don't feel like you're really ever going to be able to actually process and get over a breakup unless you do it on your own. Because, I mean, on a very surface level, you're the only one that went through the breakup. So no matter what your friends say, it's going to be biased, their opinion of your relationship. Whereas you can actually sit and process things by yourself. I just realized, also, this does not mean not therapists. Like, if you're healing by yourself, that doesn't mean you need to, like, shut yourself off from the world. I just think that it's important that you listen to your own opinions more than anyone else's. And that is what I think I've been doing almost subconsciously. Because I definitely haven't, like, I don't know, it wasn't an intentional decision that I, like, stopped going on dates. I got banned from Tinder and Hinge. My theory is I saw my ex there and I reported them, and I think they reported me also. Or I reported them and Tinder found out that it was like a stupid report and like didn't banned me for it. It doesn't matter. But I think that having this time alone has helped me be able to figure myself out a lot more, figure out like what it is that I want and what it is that I'm looking for, not just romantically, like in life in general. Because I think for someone like me who, when I'm actively pursuing a relationship, it becomes very mind consuming. It's very hard to weigh life and like the life you are going after, because for me, like when I'm going after a relationship, like it's very much something that I want to kind of change my way of life. Like I don't go on dates a lot, so if I'm dating someone, I want them to take me on dates. So this is all. Okay. My point for I like called myself out for being mentally ill while I was recording, so I had to stop. So we're just going to pick up where we left off. My point in what I was saying is that you shouldn't, like, it's unfair to expect someone to, like, fully love themselves to be loved. I get it in, like, a relationship sense. Like, I think that you do need to have love for yourself to be able to, like, have a loving relationship. But I also just don't think that, like, you need to fully... How do I say this? I brought Katie to help.
I feel like... I don't know, like, obviously your words are your words, right. So I'm not, like, trying to, like...
No, you can just say you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking
about.
No,
but I feel like you don't have to like yourself. You're gonna love yourself. At the end of the day, you are stuck in this body your entire fucking life. You are stuck in this mind. You're the rest of your life. You do not have to like her some days. You really don't, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Most people, you can wake up on the wrong side of bed and be like, I look ugly, I feel ugly, in my brain, in my soul, in my heart, I am ugly today. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, when you go to sleep, you better go to sleep being like, yeah, I still love her. You know? Like, she goes through shit, and she's there for me at the end of the day. And if you can't love yourself even a little bit to the point where, like, that's what you got, then you will not be able to love anyone else. You can maybe like people, but it's the same thing. You're not going to like your family all the time, but you have to love them.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with yourself, I think.
Yeah. I think the phrase should be changed to, like, you need to have love to give love. Yeah. Because I don't think the emphasis should be put on, like... Please. I don't think the emphasis should be put entirely on, like, loving yourself. Because I don't think that everyone is going to get to a point where they can fully love themselves. And I think when someone is going through a process in which they're trying to, like, rebuild themselves and get to a point where they can, like, be happy, having that constant reminder that, like, you need to fully love yourself to ever, like, get what you want. Like, that's not helpful.
So annoying. And I feel like that's what I am attempting to do right now. I'm on this whole journey of, like, I guess self-realization, like, this is what I got to work with. I can learn to love it, I can learn to hate it. And and then I think through the process I've kind of realized maybe that's not the only options, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like just like you can love yourself or you can hate yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you can love yourself some days and you can hate yourself some days. It's not going to change how people love you sometimes.
Yeah.
People are going to love you for you. And their love is going to grow for you as your love grows for yourself, because they don't have to put all that effort in, but they're like, oh, she's doing it herself. She sees what I see. Mm-hmm. And if you don't see what another person that loves you sees, then that's like a form of hating yourself, and they're going to be like, okay, I'm sick of this. Yeah. I'm sick of just like shooting all this love towards you and you not giving a single bit of it to yourself.
Yeah. I think
like, where is it going?
I just think that you need to have love. Like, you don't even need to have it for yourself, but just, like, being capable of, like, I don't know.
But the only way you have love is, like, you learn to love yourself first, I think.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's, like, I was talking about this in the last episode. I was talking about, like, for me, I have this, like, deep longing and, like, love, but not for anyone or, like, for anything anymore. Like, since I stopped, like, dating, I feel like I've grown this love for just, and longing for, like, life. Like, I just really... That's beautiful. I think life... Thank you. No, I'm really cute. I'm really, like, deep like and, like, analytical.
No, actually, though, like, life is... it sucks. It really sucks sometimes.
But having that just attitude of, like... This is what life is like. Like, looking outside, seeing fucking the sky. Yeah. Like, that can be
seeing people
love.
Walk by being, like, smiling at each other.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like when we first moved here, like, people would walk by in relationships and we would want to spit on them. We would spit on them.
No, we definitely did.
We definitely did. But now it's kind of like I look at them and I'm like, oh. Like, they get, like, it's still out there.
Yeah.
Love is still out there. I feel like you can get very lost in your own thoughts of, like, I don't feel love, so nobody actually feels love.
I don't know if you're
one's actually... Oh, it's okay if I'm not. I don't know. You can just feel my voice, feel my presence.
Right.
Also,
I
like how, like, since we're both autistic, we keep, like, can't, like, look at each
other
eyes.
Or look at the camera, or we're just like... No, the entire time when I'm filming these, I'm, like, looking up here, like, looking for a poster.
Like, side eye every once in a while, like, oh, God. But no, I think
we are sitting, like, really close to each other, too.
I kind of like it, though.
No, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good stage setting.
No, I'm like, hopefully no one sees.
No.
No, okay.
You have socks on, it's fine.
No, we don't.
No one's seeing your toes.
I know. Anyway,
you don't.
But what I was saying was, I feel like once you start learning how to love life, you will naturally start learning how to love yourself, because yourself, like, life in general is yourself. Whatever you picture it to be through your eyes.
I think it's a general just, like, appreciation for what life has to offer. And I think that it's hard, especially, like, currently when there's so much shit to focus on. Like, you open Twitter and the first thing you see is that, like, there's a group of people dying in the bottom of the ocean. Like, it's funny. It's funny. But, like, oh my god, I wanted to get into that. Okay, so my theory for that is, Kate was saying the other day that she had, like, heard conspiracy theories that, like, no one was in it. My theories
and if
are
it
that...
was, like, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Like, not like no one was in that shit.
No.
All alive.
I have a similar theory in that, like, I've recently been thinking a lot about how much fixation, like, how much power Hollywood has to, like, manipulate things. And not even Hollywood, just, like, the government? I don't fucking know. But, like,
us as humans, we could even make that story. We can be like, oh my god, my whole family went in a submarine and it literally imploded, and everyone would be like, no fucking way. What?
But I was thinking about how, like, we were looking for it for a few days, and then I saw a tweet that said that, like, the Navy or something like that had been aware that it had imploded, like, from day one. Like, those days that we were searching, like, people already knew that they were dead. So I was starting to think, and rest in peace, I was starting to think about how, like, they're making a documentary about it. And, like, they were basically waiting
to go out. Yeah.
They were waiting for the, like, reaction to see what kind of story they could spin about it. Like, they knew it had exploded, but there was more publicity to get out of continuing to perpetuate the story that, like, the people were still there and they were running out of oxygen, giving people hope.
And that's what our society is, like, raised, born, dies on. All we crave is hope.
The most amount of attention that they could get out of this, like, horrific event as possible.
Christianity, that's any religion. Everything has to do with just, like, hoping that things will be... Lucy, stop it.
Are you eating, like, currently eating my plant? Stop it.
There,
Stop.
Right there.
Stop.
No shame in it.
He destroys everything. Like, my
Not
plants...
My heart.
No, he builds our hearts.
He builds our hearts.
But he's
where I give all my extra love.
Is so good at being a little stinker.
I need 2 of those.
Ew. What if I just, like, threw up? And I kept it in the podcast.
No,
just,
I would like literally be like, get it in my mouth! Get it in my mouth!
I want to just, like, projectile vomit. Like, anyway, I think that healing is something, like, really deep, you know, just, like, continue on. Yeah.
No, honestly, okay. Wait, no, can we go back on just what you said for a second? Because I don't think healing's that deep. I really don't. I think it's, I think all that healing has to do is just, like, manipulating your brain to be, like, heal.
I think...
like, if you tell yourself to heal enough, you will heal. Like, yes, you have to do actions to actually, like, make yourself heal. Like, you know, fucking do some yoga, do some meditation, do whatever you need to heal. But, like, if you even tell yourself, like, no, I want to heal, you will naturally just start healing. But if you tell yourself, like, I'm so mentally ill, I'm never going to heal, and I'm always going to be in this sad place.
Continuing to
have that worry.
Then
you're just going to keep going down. Like, there is no healing from that. Because, oh my gosh, I told you about this, that, like, your being is split into 3. You have the brain, you have the body, and then you have the seer. Us as the seer, we think that everything the seer sees is true. But really, you are manipulating through your mind and through your thoughts. If you have negative thoughts, you are manipulating the seer to now see everything as disgusting because your thoughts are disgusting. You can be like, I hate life. And then now the seer is going to look at you in the mirror and be like, I also hate you, you fatty. Yeah. You know, rather than being like,
little
I kind of like...
pig boy.
Yeah, you're like, I kind of like life. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, who's that fatty?
Yeah. No, we love fatties. But I was saying that earlier in the podcast. Not that, but, like, for me, you're such a for me, I think one of the most important things you can do to, like, heal is just spend time alone. Yeah. Like, I think...
Learn to love yourself.
I was gonna say, I think that ties into the learn to love yourself thing, but I think it's more of, like, you, like, having those outside opinion, like, I was thinking about it with, like, and, like, breakups or whatever. Yeah. If you go to your friend and, like, constantly want them to reassure you about, like you're not what you're feeling and what you're processing, and like, you're never gonna be able to process it by yourself. So then every single time that you're alone, you're just gonna be dumped back into that pit because you've familiarized yourself so much with other people's opinions.
You've allowed yourself to stay in that pit.
Yeah.
But not alone. If you are able to stay in a pit by yourself and grab your fucking ass out of that pit and be like, okay, we're done with this. No one's going to come down to the pit and save you. Because now they're in a pit. Yeah. Like, no one wants to do that.
I think that you need to be by yourself to actually process things because you need only your brain. Like, I genuinely believe you cannot have outside opinions to get yourself out of things. And I, like, preface that with, like, obviously that doesn't include therapy. Like, you should also have a therapist to help you get through things if you need to.
I don't even know about that. I'm not gonna
I love therapy. I think that, every single person should go to therapy regardless of their problems because it's just so useful, I think, to have someone that you can dump all of your worries and problems on and not have any repercussions. Because then when you don't have a therapist, you're relying on the people in your life, your friends, your family, and then it just kind of does that where it snowballs and becomes like
But there's also a point in therapy. I agree, therapy's important, but there's also a point in therapy. Like, my mom had just experienced this because, oh, shit.
No, it's good.
My mom, for those of you that don't know on the podcast, my dad died, 10 months ago now, 11 months ago. I know, almost a year. That's crazy.
Insane.
But my mom and my sisters had all started therapy. I talked to a therapist and they cried to me and I just was like, no thank you.
That was our university therapist, right?
Yeah. But my mom had just messaged a therapist and she's like, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's time for me to start healing this on my own. Like, I can't keep going to you every week and just bawling at your side, being like, this is everything that's going on, this hurts so bad, because now I'm just reminding myself of all the pain that I'm going through and not actually... Like, I'm not actually fixing it. I'm just spewing out all this negative stuff in a room with one person that I barely know. And yes, it's important when you need it, but I think that if you hold on to it too tightly and you use it as, like, just a way to, like, release every emotion instead of learning how to release those emotions on your own, that's now not going to help you in the long run at all.
I think that also is, like... I mean, obviously therapy isn't going to feel good for everyone. But, like, for me, I think it's... Oh, my God! Every plant. No, don't eat any of them. Not just that one. Any of them. Not you neither. The microphone is right there. But, like, for me, I think having that space to just, like, go into a room with one person and dump all of my negative thoughts and all of whatever. I mean, it doesn't need to just be negative thoughts, but all of the thoughts or whatever. And then walking out and just... leaving it in that room, like, that feels nice. But I can also see, like...
how you can get sucked into it and be like...
Yeah, because there definitely were times...
Now I have to think of things that are negative to go talk to this person.
There are always going to be times... Oh, fuck. There are always going to be times where, like, in therapy, where you bring something up that you don't actually want to talk about, but, like, in the long run, it's going to feel so much better that you got it out. But I definitely remember a few times where I would talk about certain things... and, like, the rest of my day would just be kind of blah. Yeah. Because now it's in my head. Yeah. But I do, you know.
I think it's important.
There's healthy and unhealthy aspects of it,
definitely.
For sure.
And it's the same thing with, like, again, learning how to... Therapy is a great starter to learn how to get back with yourself again. And yes, it's good to have for a little bit where if you're in a very dark place and, like, maybe if you're not even in a horrible place, but you're just, like, and you don't really know how to get yourself out of this hole. Go to therapy, start figuring out, step back for a sec, see if you're now able to figure out by yourself. Because all therapy is supposed to do is help you dig yourself out of that hole. Someone's now helping you, but they're not going to be by your side at all times. So what happens when you're having a breakdown and now you need someone to talk it through and now you're blaming everything on... Not blaming. Now you're dumping everything on your friends and people around you because you're used to having this therapist. It's a duality of knowing where to give your thoughts.
Yeah. I think it's so healthy to, like, take breaks from therapy too. Like, if you're going for, like, 3 months and you feel like you're getting to a better spot, take a break for, like, a month and see where you're feeling. Because I think my therapist always, like, when we would have, at the end of every appointment, she would be like, do you still want to meet every week? Or, like, do you want to do twice a week? Do you want to do every other? Like...
slowly rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Like, just kind of, like, feel out how you can be on your own. Because I think that, like I said, like, your brain, everything that is making you upset is in your brain. So... the only thing that is going to allow you to not be upset is your brain. So it is just, like, sometimes necessary to just be by yourself for however long you need to and process things and get your shit like together for yourself, because yeah, it's important.
And in all honesty, like you will like I still like I feel like it's so distinct. It was right before I started my yoga training. There was a distinct moment that my brain made where it was like, no, Lucy, no, honey. No, there was a distinct moment in my brain that switched, and this is like so TMI, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm so TMI on this podcast.
I was literally in the shower, fucking with my vibrator, having
with the rosebud.
Yes, I'm having the fucking time of my life, and then I'm laying down, and then once I was done, my feet go up to the sky, and I just start like twiddling my feet around and dancing, and I'm like. And I was just dying laughing at myself. Literally, like, I could not breathe. I was in the shower naked, curled in a ball, laughing. And I was like, oh my god, I'm having so much fun by myself.
Having fun by yourself is so good.
It's so good. I don't think enough people do it. And
yeah.
I don't think enough people even know how to. And it's a whole process. But once I started learning how to, like just be with myself and be like, okay, this is fine. This is kind of funny. Like, then I was able to start my actual journey of, and I'm still on, it's a continuous journey for the rest of our fucking lives. But then I was able, I know, it is, sadly.
So scary.
But it's also so fun. Like,
yeah.
If we were just happy all the time, that's impossible. You have to feel sadness, you have to feel anger, you have to feel every single emotion to be able to feel happiness, or else you won't actually feel it.
Yeah.
So, no, and I just, that's kind of just like having fun with yourself. Like, a point clicks in your brain where you're like, yeah, I got this. I can do this. And I feel like you're getting there, genuinely. I feel like in the past, I mean, what?
Because I had that week alone.
You had that week alone? But there was also right before that, I had talked to you about, like, how just your mindset started shifting around. Because I feel like right at the beginning of my yoga training, you were just not in a great headspace. And
it was post...
Yeah, and you just...
I don't know if I'm going to keep her name in here, but
Post Madam.
I said that in the last podcast that, like, after that, it genuinely changed something in me that, like, I needed to, and I remember having, like, a really long conversation with Adam and Abby about it. Mm-hmm. Like, I just wanted to really fully reevaluate, like, the way I was behaving and the, like, things in my life that have made me behave that way. All right, let's get into media a little bit. Do you have any songs or TV or?
I've been in a hole. Not like as I'm talking about.
As we're talking about healing.
No, but I think because I am getting out of the hole emotionally, I've kind of like stayed back. Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. We started watching Black Mirror yesterday.
I really like the new season. I think it's very much more like 21st century. Like the last two we watched, it had like the money pieces and shit like that. Remember
money pieces?
The girl had like her money pieces, like the blonde pieces. It was just.
Like, I didn't know that's what they were called.
What's that called? Is that a?
I don't know.
It's money piece. I'm gonna say it's a money piece.
No, I love the blonde. The blonde.
But
bangs.
Yeah, it is weird. Finally seeing that separation of like style that has now like been exposed since like pretty much since COVID. We are now entering a whole.
The second girl had the bleached eyebrows.
Yeah. And I actually just wrote about this on my history of fashion class, of how she was talking about like what is like a very distinct style change that has like happened, and a lot of people were talking about like the 16th century and like shit like that, and I was like, after COVID, like that was one of the biggest fashion changes that we have ever had, where not only was like were we experiencing now an online.
Oh my god, keep talking, I want to show you
something. Okay, yeah. Not only were we experiencing a now online presence of fashion, but now we have styles and trends changing by the minute. So nothing is consistent, which is fun, but it's also terrifying, because like where do we go after we've tried every single trend? Hopefully we keep going and keep growing, but I don't even know at this point. I
was telling you yesterday about I'm posting an article. It's going to be out. That's not it. I'm posting an article that'll be out on Sunday about just like random collections that I saw recently that I really like. And this collection was one of my favorites.
That looks like the guy from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Which one? Jack Skellington? The stripe? Yeah. But the Ami Spring Summer 2024, I feel like is such a good look at like modern,
even the sheer socks. Yeah.
At like modern formal wear. Like we've kind of stepped away from just like suits and ties, and it's a lot more versatile.
And more scandalous, I would say.
More we're allowing more freedom in like how we define like casual, business, formal, business.
In business wear. Like now, maybe you'll see a sheer shirt under a fucking
blouse or some shit, or not blouse, blazer.
Blazer, yeah. Yeah. And that's like that's think about how unknown and how like they would never. Ever from like fucking probably like the 60s and before, never would you be seen just walking with a sheer shirt into a business office. That's like so proud, and we don't sexualize it really either now. And that is something that is just so beautiful to me, and the reason I'm in fashion now. I'm so thankful I'm in it now.
But I love that collection and the other collections that I wrote about, which will be out on Sunday that you guys can read. Are just really cool. Like I feel like fashion has kind of like been going or had been going downhill, but I feel like 2023 has brought a lot of really good collections.
I agree. And just like the style now, I feel like it's starting to. I think a lot of people are starting. I feel like you'll relate to me entirely on this because when COVID started, I feel like I was like. My style was so bad because I was picking from everything. I was like, I want to try a little bit of this, I want to try a little bit of this. That kind of kept going. I was like, I don't have a distinct style. I have every style, you know? Yeah. And now I'm starting to find, and I feel like all those people that had all these like crazy styles and tried to bunch it into one, all those fashion girlies are now like, okay, now it's time to find my own. Yeah. Now it's time to like really, and because of that, we're experiencing this whole new form of like everything combined, but also very like simple and also, it is insane how it's working. It's working like a whole fucking
with that in mind, just really quick, I wanted to say this on the podcast. I need to emphasize that I wore plaid shorts in like 2019, like way before that shit was on runways, way before that shit was like streetwear.
Like I think I wore it my first day of kindergarten, literally just like.
Okay, well that's different. That's before we knew. But like. I literally I made boxers because I wanted like those plaid shorts. I trend forecast just in my own brain.
And that's what so many people do now because it's like trends are going like this that everyone's like I trend forecast.
Oh yeah.
I've done that.
No, we just know.
That's what's cool.
Yeah.
Because like now you literally pick a little bit of everything.
Media for me is still gonna be Ted Lasso. I've still been watching it. Do you have any songs? I feel like I haven't listened to like any music recently.
I've been listening to like strictly French music and Italian music.
Ooh.
Like no.
What's English, that one French song that I really like?
That's definitely from Ratatouille.
That's Ratatouille.
No, something about like music from other cultures, I feel like I've never appreciated.
Oh my god,
enough.
fucking Latin music is so good.
And it's so good. Like the beats, the like movement of it. Oh my gosh, it just makes me want to shake everything I got.
I need to find that song.
I'm gonna do an outro. Is this like
There's no outro. There's no outro. I'm trying to find the song. There was a French song that I just rediscovered that was on TikTok in like 2019. But it's like so good.
Fuck. Wait, give me a moment.
Yeah, please. Is it in floaty height? It is. I found it. Écoute, chérie. Écoutez, chérie.
Oh, yes. No.
This song is very good.
Everything just makes me feel so
I can actually play the whole song because I don't want to get taken down.
No, let me...
Because I know I'm not monetized, but I'm pretty sure they can still, like, copyright claim me, can't they? I don't know.
I've been fucking with Aurora recently.
Aurora?
Yeah, the one that is, like, the... and, like, Frozen, you know? She says, she has, like, all those songs, and her voice is just so, like, has so much movement in it that it's just so fucking pretty. She does, like, this song. I know you know this one. Like, the Runaway song. Whatever. I'll show you later.
I feel like Aurora sounds familiar.
I know you know it, but there's also like... Wait, where's the French? Oh, like full on, like, don't know a single word that's going on in this, but God, it's so good.
So
with a little
good.
Crackle in the background. Like, this is like French and just, like, where's my biggest?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hopefully there's no one French.
I've been listening to Faye Webster a lot recently because Also, Faye Webster is. Do you know who that is?
Faye Webster, I think I do.
She's I can't think of literally any of her songs right now. Is that Phoebe? I always get her and Phoebe confused, or their songs. But she's coming to the Van Buren November 20th, and I really wanted to go.
Oh yeah, Kingston, right side of my neck.
She
Yeah.
said, "Baby, that's what I call. I love you." Like, so good.
Yeah, right side of my neck. One I hear.
And
I'm gonna be
NASCAR
so
Aloe.
On to that concert.
I'm gonna miss NASCAR
I'm literally
Aloe. I'm gonna miss NASCAR
Come
Aloe.
on the street.
I'm gonna miss NASCAR
on
Aloe.
the stage.
NASCAR Aloe is playing June 30th, and I'm leaving the next day for Pennsylvania, and I won't be able to go.
I'm gonna squirt across the room at that concert.
At what, Faye?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Please, I'm flashing
You're
for my
gonna catch
tits.
it.
Oh yes, yes. We're gonna stand on each side of the stage, and we're just gonna squirt back and forth, like those fountains that look like they're catching the water and tossing it. Yeah. That's the end of the episode. I want to.
I want to keep a squirt together now.
The wingbot. Okay. Thank you for watching this episode. Thank you, Katie, for joining us. I hope my message got across, and that it doesn't sound like I'm encouraging people to hate their lives and not love themselves. But yeah. New article gonna be out on Sunday, and this is gonna be out on Monday. So cool. That was great. Good job, everyone.